Hi, I'm Siddharth, and it is funny, disturbing at the same time that I'm recording this video on 11th of December 2025. Uh, and 11th of December turns out to also be International Mountain Day. Um, of course, none of these things make much sense to people who are in charge of India's governance, in charge of India's environment, and about a decade ago, I walked the length of the river Ganga from Ganga Sagar in West Bengal to Gangotri. And just a few months before my walk, just about a year before my walk, the government of India, in all its wisdom, had started to push for the Char Dham Sadak Pariyojana in Uttarakhand. And even in 2016, 17, when I was there, thousands, more than 6,000 deodar trees in the Bhagirathi eco-sensitive zone had been marked to be chopped. Today in 2025, we are seeing raised alarms again about the chopping of these trees, old beautiful deodar trees, for widening of roads. But this is I'm making this video not to add to a lot of concern that people are raising right now, and rightfully so. But why I'm making this video is to remind you that there is a severe breakdown of environmental governance in India. We It started from the proposal of this project, where the government itself, which is supposed to be a guard for India's environment, given by the Indian people to the government to safeguard as part of our exchange with the state and powers. And they broke down a long project into smaller projects so that they would not have to go through an environmental appraisal process. So they could sidestep every environmental appraisal process. Subsequently, as people raised their voices, issues, the case went all the way to the Supreme Court. A high powered committee was formed to look at the issue. And when the chairman of the committee, Dr. Ravi Chopra, actually tried to do an environmentally inclined bring out an environmentally inclined result, guess what? The powers that may be actually manipulated that same committee so that the chairman's report became a minority report, and the yes men in the room actually gave a clean check to the way the government wanted the roads to be built. And at every point where the project got stuck because of environmental reasons, the government put forward the narrative of national security. But as we saw very recently, that in Dharali, which is very close to where all of these 6,000 trees are getting cut, a whole town was buried under debris. There's a different reason for that in terms of the bad planning and the bad positioning of a lot of these infrastructure that had been built in Dharali. But it goes without saying that a general instability in that area has been created and is only going to get multifold worse if we continue with the kind of infrastructure first uh, thinking by people who live in plains, don't have any idea of how mountains work, how the geology, ecology of mountains work. And it saddens me to no extent to feel helpless that this project and its ill intentions have gone through almost all corridors of power, different agencies, including the Supreme Court. Nothing has really happened. Everything has been sacrificed at the altar of infrastructure first thinking. And um, it's telling how India's environmental governance has systematically been broken down, and how activists and people who actually speak for the environment are constantly targeted, put down, and their voice minimized. Powers don't see us as anything else but minions. but we must remember that we are citizens of this country. It's our constitutional duty to protect our environment, and we must keep raising our voice, but we have to keep reminding ourselves that this is a systemic issue. It's not a singular instance. There is consistent attack on India's environment, for the comfort of a few, for the benefit of a few, and those who are supposed to be safeguarding India's environment are actually hell bent on making things worse as they can be. So make sure that uh, you point your fingers at the right places, that we look at systems and not individuals or independent individual actions. We need to look at this whole system to really do anything if we can.